everybody?
Yeah, I guess it's about to start. Yes, it is. So, sharp on time. Let's start our weekend with a quick prayer. Master Jesus, spiritual friends, another Saturday starting with our study, that we could enjoy, learn, perhaps even help others with this study. Give us the right intuition, the right perception to allow us to absorb the best we can. Be with us today and always. So be it.
Amen.
So let me share the book with you guys. Then we'll present that. Can you all see the book?
Yes.
A bit bigger. Okay. So today we're starting the chapter about dissertations by spirits. In this chapter, we have collected a number of spontaneous communications which complete and conform to the principles set forth in this work. We could have included a larger number, but we have limited ourselves to those that most particularly have a bearing on the future of Spiritism, mediums and meetings. We gave then for the instructions they provide as models of truly serious communications. We end the chapter with a few apocryphal communications, along with observations that will help in recognizing them as such. I'll just read here a bit. Concerning Spiritism, we have confidence in the goodness of God and endeavor to understand that He is preparing a new destiny for you. I'm just reading here what the 38 means. In order to maintain the personal nature of the communication in this chapter, we have retained the traditional pronouns with a reference to God. Okay. It is true that you will not be able to enjoy this new life in your present existence. You need to, let's read into the end and then we see what kind of conclusions that sentence could bring to us. But if you did not have to live again in this globe, wouldn't you be happy if you could contemplate from a higher place the work that you had begun and watch it develop? Be solid in your faith and do not waver, so that you may confront the obstacles that may arise against the edifice whose groundwork you have laid. The foundations upon which the edifice is supported is firm. Christ himself laid its first stone. Therefore, take heart, architects of the divine master. Work and build. God will crown your endeavors. But remember that Christ does not regard as disciples those who only talk about charity. It is not enough to merely believe. Rather, you must take special care to exemplify goodness, benevolence, and disinterestedness. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Without which your faith will be sterile. St. Augustine. if we start to evaluate from the top to the bottom, there's a lot of things on this one. So we go one by one. It is true that you'll not be able to enjoy this new life in your present existence. This could be interpreted in several ways. One of them, if we decide to consider that has been said on the 1800s, there was the spirits trying to tell us that we would not see the spiritism getting spread as they foresee for us. But it also can be said that anything we do today, we may not be able to collect the benefit of it in this incarnation. Things we do today maybe only be able to be withdraw, if I can say like that, in the next or the future incarnations. Saying that, we should not do something expecting to receive something in this incarnation or in 10 years' time, it doesn't matter. We should be doing something because we believe, because we know that something good will come out of it. But you should not be waiting a reward straight away. Hi, Liz.
Hi, everyone. Where it says, it is true that you will not be able to enjoy this new life in your present existence, we need to remember that he's talking, this was actually said 150 years ago to the spiritists at the meetings then. And what is happening in this current existence is that the earth is transforming and it is going for the better. So I think it's a higher meaning, not just about, you know, the benefits, what they will see in their lifetimes then, you know, for the transformation that Spiritist does to people, but also that the planet herself is actually going into a better, shall I say, higher consciousness level.
Yeah.
Which they wouldn't have seen in their lifetime. But we have a possibility of actually witnessing that possibly.
I hear you. Yes, if you compare today with 200 years ago, yes, it's a massive difference already. But if you compare ourselves with what will be in 200 years' time, we'll be different again. So, well, we hope we'll be different again. We'll be better in 200 years' time. So, yeah, good point. Hi, Valerie.
Sorry, I wanted to raise my hand and actually I clapped, but well, I just wanted to say, I believe this paragraph is less broad than you just said, because it's really concerning Spiritism. I think it's more concerning the fact that it was the beginning of Spiritism and that the works they were doing at that time, they were not going to see how far Spiritism had been developed, and that it would only come after the results of their work would come only after their death. So I think it's because okay. That's it.
That's why I said that could be interpreted in several different ways, and I believe Spiritism is connected to its development is also connected to the development of ourselves as individuals, of the planet, of everything, you know, because everything we preach, if we decide to do one day, we're going to be living in a better world, you know. So, yeah, I agree with you all. Very good.
Thanks.
But then there's something that he says right after that. If you do not live again on this globe, that's a possibility. That's always a possibility. If you reach a point where we have to go elsewhere, that could be our last incarnation on Earth. We could be traveling to a better place or to a place we would like not to go, we would like to avoid. But then it's a result of whatever we decide to do now, today, right? But this is a possibility. And if you go to a different place knowing that you have contributed somehow to leave something better for those that are coming, that would be great. There's something here that is valid to any philosophy, religion, anything. We need to be solid in whatever we decide to follow. We need to be confident that we are going in the right way. Otherwise, if you are only halfway through, a lot of things we do, we say, become a bit meaningless. So we need to revisit our faith and decide if we are solid or not. Hi, Osoli.
Yes. Morning, good morning, Guilherme, everybody.
Morning.
I think it depends. Then the Santo Agostinho said, sorry, to live again in this globe, because this is our we decided it. Why we decided that? Because it depends of us, or only of us, our grade of upgrade in a scala. I think the name is don't know name, scala of spiritus. Then and to be someday in the spirits, good spirits, together with the good spirit. We are not good spirits. We are spirits in a approval, also in here in the earth. So, but we fight. We fight to be. And why Saint Agostino is very nice to say, to try to us try uh, I don't know name in English. We don't forget that we have this possibility. Is to depend our shoes. Always, always. It's not we can't regret. Yes, we can regret, but we don't regret. But we don't want it. We want go up, and it depends of us, our think, how we think, how we do things here. So it's so easy and difficult.
Very true. Very true. Valerie?
I just wanted to mention that the French version is even stronger than the words "be solid in your faith." They say you wear an armor of your faith, as if you were going, to war. It's really the word armor. You know what's the knights were wearing? Just for you to know.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, you see, good point. Good point. You still have some differences in translation. You see, sometimes the translation does not reflect the full meaning of the original, right?
Yeah, it's even stronger, and it's a nice comparison with.
Very good. You may confront obstacles that may arise against the edifice whose groundwork you have laid. I believe that in our path, we all will be facing situations where people will not be pleased with what we do on the Spiritism, for many different reasons. One, because they believe in something else. Two, they don't believe in anything. Three, because they believe you are dedicating too much of your time to something they do not comprehend. 3, because they prefer the way you were. Because something that's very natural is that when you do start to comprehend Spiritism, you start to promote changes in your life. And another point, family is not very happy with you for all the reasons above. So there now another option is that the Spiritists themselves may not be happy with you because the way they see Spiritism is different than the way you do. Things you try to promote go directly against what they want or what they believe, right? So there are many things like that possibly will arise over the years. He says there's something very important here, that everything has been prepared by the Christ himself. So if we do our part properly, then we should not be afraid of it. We should not fear. And something that I believe is very important, very important. We are not here to convince anyone. Spiritism is not here to convince anyone about anything. But when we give our examples, when we become the example, then we are going somewhere. Then we are able to show people that, well, the Spiritism may not be that bad. So example is something that is very, very powerful. Very powerful. It's like a parent. You may think your kids are not observing you, but they observe to the degree that they reproduce things you do. And people say, oh, this is genetic. Could be a bit of genetic into it, but they see you doing, they start to copying what you do, right? So example. And then we can have a few other things here, but like doing things without any interest, but this always speak constantly. Christ himself presides over the works of every kind that are being carried out in order to usher in the era of renewal and improvement, which has been foretold to you by your Spirit's guide. And then I'm thinking, the way we are doing things is that perhaps an improvement, something new, maybe, because nowadays we are using the virtual tool to do a lot of things. Actually, if you would look beyond the spirit manifestation and surmise current events, you will have no difficulty recognizing precursory signs, which will show you beyond any doubt that the foretold time has come. There was a change at that time, isn't it? What the Spiritism brought was I'm pretty sure was not pleasing everyone, but that every time when you bring something new, we don't please everyone. And the results are here today. We see the consequences of what we do. We see how we can help, how we can work with the spirits. So consequences are here. I also live.
I thank you for in the gospel. The second capital. They said at the point of view, viewpoint, and they're the same, the wonderful definition. They do and wonderful explain of this why we have and why we can, with a know up the mountain and see under, so we see better view, and why this is very fine, because it explain you the difficulty we have. It just did a second after Saint Augustine. So I think so. I thank you for that. To that, I don't know if I'm right, but the point of view in the second two capital in the gospel. I'm so sorry, I can't only Swedish and the Portuguese. Oh.
That's okay. That's okay. Communications are opening up in every nation. And that was Kardec's time. Today, I think it's even more, right? I think it's in every corner. When the material barriers are finally overcome, political and religious prejudices will rapidly disappear, along with the moral obstacles that hinder unity. Some of you may do not know, but some places we were not allowed to practice the Spiritism. It was against the law. People had officers knocking their doors because they were not supposed to have any Spiritist meeting. So nowadays we're kind of lucky. And that's a prime example how we are already getting something from those who started 200 years ago, right? Some places today, some communities, they are not very keen yet. They think what we do is not correct. But 200 years ago was way worse than it is today. Thereby, the reign of fraternity will be solidly and durably established. Look how sovereigns themselves, impelled by an invisible hand, have already initiated reforms, something unheard of previously. Reforms that spontaneously start from above are quicker and more lasting than those that start from below by means of force. What came to my mind here is that when the Spiritism was starting, there were people, powerful people, kings even, who were supposed to be involved, more directly involved in the Spiritism. So possibly the Spirit is mentioned that kind of situation. Imagine if at that time the King of France was in favor openly about the Spiritism. That would have a different impact, right? Never happened at the time. In spite of prejudices of my childhood and education, in despite my memories, I already had a presentiment about the present era. I rejoice at this and rejoice even more at being able to come here and tell you, brothers and sisters, take heart. Work for yourselves and your future. Work especially for your own personal improvement. And in your next lifetime, you will enjoy happiness. That is as difficult to imagine at present as it is for me to make you understand it. Chateaubriand. A lot of things we do today, we will, again, we won't see the results today. And it's hard to believe that that's true, that you will benefit from it in the future. So then we're going back to the faith situation. We need to work our faith. And if you feel like we're not in the right place, perhaps never going to work. Not 100% for us, you know. I think that Spiritism is an entire philosophical study of concealed causes and inner movements of the soul, which have been little defined. And let me get your attention from the difference of the text. One spirit writes in a way, another spirit writes entirely different. The words chosen and things like that is entirely different. So, which have been little defined and not defined at all until today. It explains more than it's unveiled, new horizons. Reincarnation and the trials that you must bear before arriving to the supreme goal are not mere revelations, but full confirmations of the truth. I'm struck by the truths that are being brought to light by means of Spiritism. I say means intentionally because I view Spiritism as a lever that breaks down the barriers of blindness. Do you guys agree with that? That Spiritism break down the barriers of blindness? Do you all agree with that?
I do agree. It gives us such a understanding, to be honest with you, and gives us a way to understand things, understand the gospel, understanding the world, understanding, to be honest, science in itself, to be fair, because I don't see certain discoveries as something very, amazing, incredible. I see just part of our understanding of, how things happen. And then they say, we don't know why it happened. And then Spiritism say, yes, this is why it happens. That's what you're observing. And, it is, for me, it brings great clarity.
I agree with what you said, but from all of it, what is most important to me is to understand ourselves. When we start to understand ourselves a bit better, anything else will come easier. So yes, until today, I haven't found something in my mind or some of my questions that could not be answered on the Spiritism. I'm trying to think here about something that was not answered. Even when the answer was, you're not prepared to know yet. But the answer was there. Hi, Liz.
Hi there. I think the vast works of Spiritism and revelations by Spiritism of the truth were the first chance for people to have so many questions answered that they must have held for eons, since, humans walked on the planet. And it was the greatest gift, I feel, that was given to humanity. And it's also a fantastic glue to give us hope and keep us on the right path, because it gives us so many examples of how to be and how to grow.
Indeed. Indeed. Concern over moral issues is being awakened everywhere. Individuals are discussing political issues, and these awaken general interest. They discuss individual interest, and the attack on or defense of personalities awaken passions. Theories with supporters and detractors, but moral truth, the food of the soul, its bread of life, remain in the dust accumulated over centuries. To human eyes, all forms of improvement seem useful, except that of the soul. Its education and evolution seems like chimeras that only serve to occupy the leisure time of priests, poets, and women, whether as simple fashion or as a formal instruction. If Spiritism breathes the new life into spiritualism, it will provide society with the impulse that will awaken inner dignity in some and resignation in others, while in everyone it will awaken the need to evolve toward the Supreme Being, forgotten by and unknown to his ungrateful creatures. I think that one of the go Liz before
I think one thing that this last paragraph shouts out to me is still the general misunderstanding about God in itself. And with the Spiritism, it just makes so clear. You know, Jesus came and shows us a father, and people are still seeing this father as a very vengeful, punishing, and angry at times. And with the Spiritism and all the work and all the investigations and everything, all the experiences I have is completely, you know, to show how God is. And this idea of God being that being that destroys and punish is something that is so generalized everywhere. And this is one thing that I think Spiritism, by reason and all of this, really put out there, that this is a wrong idea.
Mhm. Those wrong ideas or those wrong perceptions is because of our beliefs, because of what we feel comfortable with. But eventually things will migrate to something that is more real, you know. But in this sentence, that who's so sad, there's something that I think Spiritism is very powerful. Resignation. I'll give two examples here. A father that has lost his son in a very early age. He was a teenager, right? And somehow we've been involved because we know the family. And the father clearly says, we are only getting by because of what we learn under Spiritism. So the certitude that nothing ends in our present physical life brings a massive comfort to those that are left behind, let me say like that. The certitude that we are continuing brings a lot of reassuring, because the pain of a father or a mother losing a son is unbearable. Having something able to reduce a bit this sentiment is a massive help. And another example is someone I know who lost the mother. She had like not far from 80s, I believe. So she had a long life. And not too long after she passed away, they got news from the spiritual world, from herself, saying she was better than she were on earth. And I remember the communication. I am alive. I'm truly alive. I have no pain at all. Because when she was incarnated, she was under a lot of pain. This is reassuring. This brings peace. And in that particular case, the family was not into it, believing or not believing. Actually, one of the kids was, one of the sons was even against the Spiritism, but returned with a message saying, thank you very much. It bring me comfort, knowing that she's okay. So I think this is a powerful thing the Spiritism can do. Through our directly help, through the information, through the mediumship meetings, and there are other ways, but this is something I believe is very powerful in the Spiritism. So, hi Camila.
Hi, I was thinking, and I would like to share how these words touch me, because it touched me in a little bit different way. I think we in Earth, we always be running and doing a lot of things and just try to pay the mortgage and buy a house, whatever, and have the job, have a better position, all these crazy things for the material part. Then when we start to wake up and start to think, when I die, what actually matters, right? Because I don't even have the house, I don't even have the important job, I don't even have the position. So how I use the resource that I have, the time and everything, right? Because I think for me, not only the spiritism, but that conveying in many religions, you start to think in God and the life that we will have after and what actually matters. Like it started to change our habits towards in this direction, right? Loving, charity, and all the other things.
Spiritism came to reduce the power of the materialism. What you started describing, Camila, was materialism. I'm working, I possess, I have money, I have power, you know. And we see over and over in our mediumship meetings, spirits that are coming very upset because those who remain on earth are not taking care properly of what he left. You know? And sometimes we have to ask them, have you brought your wallet with you? Have you brought anything with you? Because we won't take anything from her with you, with us. So when we understand that, then things become easier. Like choose a job where you get less money. Like not paying too much attention for properties. Things like that. But there's still have a lot of materialism. A lot. Hi, Liz.
Hi there. Yeah, when we pass over, all we can take, which is beneficial, is our deeds and knowledge, but it's the knowledge of truth that we've managed to recover, research, and everything, because not all knowledge is the same. Also, it was losing my son when he was 24 in 2004 that brought me to Spiritism. And although it took 14 years to get over it, even with the knowledge, Lord knows what would ever have happened to me if I hadn't have found Spiritism. And then my brother, who was thalidomide and asthmatic, diabetic, he had so many disabilities and pain, though he never complained. After he died in 2010, came back straight to me saying, thank you for introducing me to mediumship, because then I found out I could talk to you when I pass. And I'm happy, I'm free, I don't feel any pain. And also in all the research I do, because I'm a deep researcher for truth for the last 20 years, I have to say in the last, since Spiritism, 150 years ago being introduced to our planet, I still don't think we've got anything that comes anywhere near to Spiritism as far as people having that beautiful knowledge of what happens after death to help relieve the suffering and the grief, or even the whole teachings of Spiritism. There's nothing to compare with it.
I hear. I hear. I believe the same. I do not promote that because I think that everyone needs to be acquainted to the degree of what they need. If today we are spiritists, yesterday we were something else. So, but I agree with you. But I also understand that we are where we're supposed to be. So I respect any belief or any degree of understanding of the world. Like the other list now.
Get a bit confusing. But I think me and Liz, we already know who people are talking to, don't we, Liz? We already feel them. No, that's not me, that's Liz. I think we feel that already. No, I feel really happy that Liz brought this about, about what she's been through, because yes, it gives us a hope, a consolation. And it also, it doesn't mean that we are not going to hurt because missing someone, it's hurtful. And that is human, that is being human. And Spiritist doesn't say not to suffer when someone dies. That's not it. But give us the consolation of the future, and obviously also of, our journey. And like the consolation of, life after death and the certainty is one aspect, I think, that brings another aspect that the Spiritism explains very well, especially in the book Heaven and Hell, that there is no hell, that, we are not going to be forever in one state. We are developing beings, and everyone is looked after and everyone is helped. And it also shows us, which many people don't like, because many people are not ready for that as well, is that everything that happened to us is our responsibility. And, in one way or the other, and many of things that happen to us is just to wake us to grow a little bit further. And there are two kinds of suffering, isn't there? Suffering to make us break the shells to grow, and that one of repair. So this is quite enlightening, and it just takes us away from that guilt road that we've been brought up into sometimes. If you don't do this, you go to hell, and that is where you're going to be forever. So in Spiritism, forever, I think, is just our lives, and we are going to live forever. But how we are going to live, God is looking after us, and whatever mistakes we do, we can get up and do better next time.
Harmonia.
Hi, Guilherme. Hello, everyone. I find these messages very, very interesting, and they bring a lot of information about Spiritism and how we should see it. I think that, as Rousseau has said, we are society, and our problem is myopia, short-sightedness. We can see beyond a few steps ahead of us. And what Spiritism does is the spirits trouble themselves to show us a little bit more of the creation, of God's creation and its perfection. That's why Spiritism brings consolation, comfort, hope, because the creation is perfect, is beautiful. God is love, is justice. And we start to see beyond this little corner that our normal eyes show us. We start to get eagle's eyes and see beyond. So the world for us becomes much more than just, what we see here. And that's why it brings all these comforts and hope and consolation. But I think the important thing is shouldn't stop there. I think St. Augustine, at the end of the first message, he says very clearly, that Jesus regards as disciple, not just those who talk about charity, but those who exemplify goodness, benevolence, and disinterestedness. And this is, in my view, what we should be working in us. We may be knowledgeable about Spiritism and dates and who brought which message, and, that's fine. But as Paul the Apostle said, if I cannot love, I have nothing. And, and we are amazed when we go deeper into Spiritism, because it's a reality that the spirits brought to us. It would take us ages to get to all these, if it wasn't for their little push, little help, to help us see. And it's the same with science. The world around us has been the same for, many centuries. And now we can see it better. We can understand how atoms react and, everything, and sunlight and microwaves and whatever. The stars have been here for billions of years. Now we see them. We are amazed every day by the images, from these telescopes. But this, situation has been more or less the same for millions, billions of years. And we are getting amazed now by that. And what Spiritism does for us is to bring a reality that was beyond our understanding until Kardec's time. And now we start to, bring that into our life. We are not just spirits living on earth. We are spirits living on the universe. We are part of the universe. And, I think we should start changing our behavior according to that. That's I think, the importance of all these messages. They help us make sense of all the teachings that we've received through this communication from spirits and the work of Kardec.
That's true, isn't it? That's true. You're talking, I'm thinking a lot of things here. Hi, Patricia.
Oh, hi. I just, in this last paragraph in there, I'm just wondering, because he says, I know there is a difference between Spiritism and spiritualism. Is he saying that it's beneficial as well in terms of spiritualism and different spiritualistic religions, maybe? The benefit that will still bring something in terms of understanding of a life after death, possibly. I'm just thinking that he's saying that there is a benefit in everything, isn't it? In every religion as well. But in this case, I know that Spiritism differs from spiritualism, but it seems to acknowledge as well the benefits of spiritualism, I think.
Mm-hmm. There are some key points that are a bit different from our brothers that practice the spiritualism and the spiritists. Spiritism is a philosophy, and a philosophy can be incorporated to anything, anywhere, any belief, any creed, any religion, because it is a philosophy. In Brazil, Brazilians decide to start to give the notion of religion for the Spiritism. But the Spiritism, at source, is not a religion, it's a philosophy. So it can be incorporated to Buddhism, Catholicism, anything. in that particular case of the spiritualism, because we have so many things alike, things we study and we do here may help them to see things perhaps with a different pair of eyes. But it's like the magnetism. Magnetism is a sister philosophy, if you like. So Spiritism is also a sister philosophy to the spiritualism. Things we study here, like the Medium's book, could be very positive for the spiritualism because they also practice mediumship. Likewise, there are some other creeds that also would benefit a lot because there are things they do and they don't even know that's mediumship. There's a mediumistic action happening in what they do. So it could be very positive. So that is a general answer to any belief, not only the spiritualism. So you're very right to point that out, Patricia. Hi, Christine.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to share with you that in the last couple of months, going back to the statement, Spiritism is a lever that breaks down the barriers of blindness. I've had the opportunity more and more to be present when people are actually in the final stages of life. And I just think that that statement says it all for me, breaks down the barriers of blindness, that we're blind and we can't see. But with Spiritism and the philosophy behind Spiritism shows you that it is something that should be of comfort to us, that can be of comfort to those that are actually going to be leaving as a human being and being spirit, disincarnated spirit. So, as I said, yeah, I've had the opportunity to help quite a few people, and it's been a real learning experience for myself.
Mm-hmm. Before I pass the mic to Munir, I'll give you just an example of something that happened. I don't know if I mentioned that here. I lost someone in my family. That was my aunt. She was very dear to me. And I always like to annoy her, saying that when you go to the other side, remember me. We have meetings where you can help you, type of thing. And she always was against that. No, I don't want to be part of it. Leave me alone, type of thing, you know. But she passed away recently. And she came to one of our mediumship meetings, and I remind her, do you remember that I used to annoy you saying that? And she said, yes, look where I am now. She was with us, so yes, just to give a little different perception of the same thing you said. Hi, Munir.
Hi, Guilherme. I'd like to ask Valérie if she could check the original French regarding this last paragraph by Rousseau. Spiritism is with capital S and spiritualism with lowercase. And what I understood from this paragraph is that he's talking about the spiritual manifestation of the human being as a spiritualism, our spiritual side, and not spiritualism as, you know, a movement per se. You know, the organized, the spiritualist church, and so on. Because I understood from this that he's talking about our spiritual side. So Spiritism breathes new life into the spiritual side of human beings, and it will provide society with the impulse. He's talking about, you know, in general terms, not in the particular case of the spiritualist movement as such.
So in the French version, there's no big capital. It's only all small. Spiritism and spiritualism are both in small. So I cannot help you to interpret this.
Okay.
Sorry.
But what I understood from this spiritualism is not the movement, especially strong in England, but spiritualism as the manifestation of our spiritual side, you know, be it through a religion or meditation or whatever, you know, the cult of our spiritual side, and not spiritualism as such.
Yes, I would have understood that also. That's
Yeah.
in general, the spirituality, or interest for spirituality.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Before as we have a couple of minutes, let me just share with you something that has been said by a group back in Brazil, that apparently the next reincarnation of Chico Xavier will be in Israel. Right? And why are you shaking your head, Camila?
Because I don't believe in these things. The Chico Xavier, the Chico Xavier said that the politician will win. And it's like, oh, I don't know, like,
Oh,
why?
this
Why would you know that where he
yeah,
will?
okay, understood. But that is a individual belief. Believe or don't believe, that's not the point. The point I want to make is this group is saying that he will incarnate in Israel. And then do we know where we will incarnate? Because, for example, then pick a name. Camila will reincarnate in Israel next time. Do you think she'll be a spiritist? No. Myself, I will reincarnate in Saudi Arabia. Do you think I'll be a spiritist? No. I will be something else. And as part of incarnation process, today we are here, tomorrow we are there. Yesterday I was totally different place with different beliefs, professing different religions, philosophies, and actions. What Spiritism is bringing to us, it goes in line with what Munir brought to us, is the spiritualism, making ourselves better people. So then next time when I'll be Muslim, for example, in my essence, I'm carrying with me some of the things I'm having the opportunity to learn today. And then doesn't matter if we are ism, this, ism, that, you know. I won't be a spiritist. I won't be Catholic, anything, doesn't matter. One day, we will have no name for what we will become. One day, and when I say that, people sometimes be, oh, what are you saying? I'm looking forward to the day we don't need the spiritism anymore. Because that means that we'll be all on the same page, professing the same words, the word of love, peace, one looking after another. So then we're not having differences anymore. We'll be all the same. I also leave quickly because we have to close.
Very quickly. One day, we don't need a name. We recognize us with how we shine inside. So we don't need a name, no name. So, but it's not now. Many thousand years in the front from future.
Very good, very good. So now I'm passing the lead to, oh, Raphael's here. Raphael?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. It's good to be here with you again. As you know, we separate this moment now to do a special prayer. Every Saturday after the meeting, what we do is a moment of vibration where we try to direct our intention to the different groups around the planet who are in need at the moment. So I will invite all of you to join me in this, in thought and in vibration, as we transform this prayer into something even more special. So let's all elevate our thoughts, calm our hearts, open our minds, And together say, my Lord, we are gathered here under your name, under your guidance, under your love. At first, to study and understand a bit more about the interactions between the material side and the spiritual side. And from this understanding, put to practice straight away the law of charity that we now know should be guiding our lives, our interactions, our thoughts, our behavior. And in doing so, we think of this planet, the beautiful and loving home that has given us so many opportunities. And the understanding that every single person walking on this earth is a family member. As we share this environment, we share the responsibility, not only for maintaining it, but for each other's lives. At this time, so many of us are going through challenges, tests that we know come to us as opportunities for growth, for atonement, for learning. But our blindness keeps us from understanding it from the perspective of immortal souls, loved by their Father, progressing in the journey, still in a phase where the learning comes from suffering. And for these brothers and sisters, we ask for your help. We ask that the prayer that we now direct may reach them. We ask that the vibration that we now start overtake how they're feeling, what they're thinking. We ask that this shock bring to them a bit of peace. Allow their minds to perceive that next to them there's someone trying to help. That this peace bring to them the reminiscence of the plans that they have done to learn and make the most of this experience. That the hope that comes from their hearts take over. That they feel comforted. That they find within themselves the courage to carry on. That they find the strength to resist. That they find the understanding to forgive. May they feel, my Lord, that around them and above them, you provide. May this moment of light envelop all of the groups that are facing conflicts. They are being moved from their families, from their houses, the ones that are dealing with the natural disasters, having to restart their material lives, the ones that are lost. May they all benefit from the light that we ask of you to shine upon them. And that over time, may that light bear the fruit of progress so that they can see the benefit, enjoy the happiness of the spiritual life that waits for them. Thank you, my Lord, for being with us and extending this appeal to the many that are in need. In your name, I ask to close this session, knowing that like the sun, you're always there with us. So be it.
See you
Thank
guys
you.
next week.
See you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.